everyone, raise a paw if you have a new four-legger in your life and you're like, oh, now humbly, I tell people I call the first year with a dog or a cat the wonder year, Amy, because you wonder where your patience, your sanity goes.
Yes.
But
yes.
we got help here. And I love two of her books. I really want you to get your paws on. One is called Competability, Solving Behavior Problems in Your Dog and Your Cat Dog Household. And the other one's a must is Complete Puppy Care, your expert source for healthcare, behavior, and training. Let's dive in. Puppies don't come with an owner's manual, do they?
No, or an off switch. So you have a lot of issues with puppies. They're either play, eat, poop, sleep. And it's you really need to kind of figure out what their schedule is, help them get on a good schedule so you can anticipate some of these things. And when you're trying to juggle the existing resident pets with this newcomer who disrupts all the schedules and said, all the toys are mine, all the food is mine,
Yeah.
It's a hair pulling situation. It's very common. Take a breath, just like, think of the new ones. Well, and sometimes even the older ones as a 4-year-old child.
Okay.
That attention span, that dedication to learning or caring what you say. And when a puppy is very young, they have a very short attention span, just like a human youngster. So you want to nickname the pet Nat. Exactly.
Yeah.
But it's also, they're like little sponges because they are soaking up everything in their world. Everything is new. Everything's exciting. So you want to be careful. You can hear they're playing in the background. You want to be careful that you teach them the right things, that they have a lot of positive outcomes to whatever it is that they do. Making mistakes for puppies and for kittens, making mistakes is good. That's the way they learn. They learn by making mistakes to say, oh, that didn't work, so we're going to try something different. So never think, because they don't come into the world knowing your rules. No. And your rules are different than my rules that are different than Arden's rules, right? So get all of your two-leggers in the household on the same virtual page. What are our rules? If we don't want the puppy on this furniture, but that one's okay, or we're not going to feed from the table, or, what all of those rules are. And I'm not going to tell you what's right or wrong, what's right for your situation, but get them all on the same page so that, they don't run to dad and get around your rules, because they will do that. They will do that.
Hey, everyone, we're chatting with Amy Sojai. She is an amazing pet expert, author extraordinaire, and we're diving into getting a new puppy and how do you introduce that pup to the rest of the pets in the household. So I have a multi-pet household, and you do know never can always plan when a pet's going to be added to the pack. I mean, at the start of COVID, we found this dog dumped in our neighborhood, and no ID, no microchip, and full of heartworms. Amy, I thought little Emma was a senior little Chihuahua poodle mix. She was 1 year old, but she walked like a zombie. I didn't plan to have a 9-pounder in my house. I had a 90-pounder, but she became a very good, and still is, great member of our family, Emma, my Gemma. So sometimes we can plan for it. Sometimes we don't. Our heart says this is the one. So I know you've taught me some things too about the 3 C's: be clear, concise, and consistent. What does that mean when it comes to a pup coming in with a brain still forming?
Well, as I mentioned before the break, you need to set up your set of rules that are going to work for you. Also set up expectations. What can you anticipate? I know a lot of the shelter folks say when you adopt an animal from the shelter, they're literally shell-shocked from the shelter experience. So it's going to take a while before you see the real personality come out. And with a puppy, confident puppies are a little bit more resilient. Luckily, they don't know any better. And so
that's been my life model.
They may bounce back a little faster, but older puppies, more adult dogs that maybe have lost a home that they were very attached to, they can take a while. So be considerate of that as well. And one of the most important things is respect the animals you already have. So if you already have a house full of animal friends, you're going to want to take care that you don't put their tails in a twist. If you have a senior pet that is not going to put up with the antics of a puppy. Now, I have a senior cat now, and we had a kitten that just showed up. Well, Karma Cat, the older cat, he's become this little kind of a loaf, a potato, just kind of what is sits and eats and, kind of veggies out and everything. And he plays with the dog somewhat, but not so much. And now the kitten has got his furry tail up and moving. He's lost a little weight. He's feeling better. He's acting younger. So a new puppy in your household can turn back the clock on some of the other animals too. But when you're first introducing them, respect the resident pets. They were there first. They own the house. They rule over a youngster. So no matter what the youngster does, you have to be careful with that cute factor saying, oh, poor baby, poor baby. No, if he got into the other's face and got disciplined with a growl, good for the older dog that he is teaching him boundaries, because you don't want to quash that. You want the animals to understand who's in charge in what room and in what circumstance. And that can vary a little bit. I mean, that gets a little more complicated, but in general, you're going to support the older animals, the resident pets. You're going to respect them, and you're going to enforce what they are telling the youngster to do also. And always supervise. When they're the young one coming in, you're not going to leave them. You wouldn't leave a 4-year-old in the house alone, unattended. You're going to keep them in a safe place, whether that's a crate or a small room, or you're going to find ways to keep them safe.
Now, you mentioned in your books how it's really important to make short intros at first, and having, you call it like a safe room for this pup, so that they're not all over the place and a little nose touching. Let's talk about an older cat. You just brought home a puppy, and you said something about when the dog is having a potty break, maybe have the kitty in like your bedroom or some other thing. Tell us about that, because scent is so important for dogs and cats, and so is a feeling of safety.
Right. And cats, the sense of smell is much more important than we used to think. Cats really are very sensory creatures, and scent identifies safety and scary things. If it's if it's a different scent they're not used to, then automatically it's stranger danger. Oh my God, what is this thing? So you want to make sure that they have an opportunity to explore in a safe way the new smells that this puppy has brought in. So if the puppy is outside and has been, when the puppy's indoors, has been confined in one location, that tells the cat, only one room in my territory has been invaded. I can put up with that.
Okay. All right.
And then when the puppy goes outside to do his business, you can open the door and let the cat go in and explore without the puppy nose poking in rude places. And
that's
the
good.
Cat can sniff and smell and figure out, because a cat, dogs and cats they're a lot different. But when it comes to introductions, a cat will not be interested in meeting somebody new, whether it's a person or a four-legger, unless they feel safe first. So they have to feel safe in their environment first. And then when you finally do the nose-to-nose greeting, that ideally that can be through like a puppy gate, or with the puppy on a leash to kind of control those things. So the puppy, again, is clueless. It's going to say, oh, he's so animal for me. Let me go get the squeaker out, and depending on the size of the animal, you could have a dangerous issue without them even knowing what's going on.
And let's go to puppy meets resident dog. And it could be a primetime dog or a senior dog. You want to keep it safe, I know dogs love other dogs most of the time,
Most of the
but
time.
any tips you can give for people bringing in a pup, and don't just shove it in the face of your
Oh, yeah.
beautiful dog you've had for 8 years?
Yeah, because I mean the older dog or whatever, it may be love at first sight.
Okay.
You know, paws crossed, it's gonna be love at first sight. And it actually was when we had Shadow show up. Shadow was a dumped puppy. Somebody dumped him. He was about 12 weeks old.
What
at our
kind of
front
dog
gate.
is he?
He's a Kelpie wannabe. He looks and he acts very much like a Kelpie, but
Okay.
of course we don't know. And he had an open sore on his back that looked like it had been burned. And when he came, he was about 16 pounds, maybe that amount. And we had Bravo at the time, who was a Bull Mastiff Great Dane cross,
Yeah,
125 pounds to,
that's a lot of
And
poop
so-
to pick up.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
a lot of poop to pick up. Yes. And Bravo had just been diagnosed with cancer. So there was that issue too. When Shadow came, he kind of was a gift to us all because he took that kind of scary thing going on in our lives. It kind of gave us some funny things to do. It gave Bravo a happy friend to
Good.
play with. And so it was a real blessing for us. But again, the size difference, we had to be very careful, kept the puppy on a leash during first introductions. We also have a lot of property here. We are on about 13 acres and we have a fenced backyard. So their first meeting was outside without a fence anywhere around so they could each get away from each other. And that's really important. If you have a backyard, that's ideal because again, the older dog owns everything. This is my territory.
Right.
You don't want him or her to feel like, somebody is encroaching here. You want to have a way for them to escape. As long as they can get away from each other, doorways, hallways, all those narrow places, very dangerous places for dogs because they can't get away. And there's a lot of arousal potential
Okay.
there. So big open spaces. If you don't have that, if you can go like to a friend's house, a friend's backyard that your resident dog doesn't own. This is not my property. We're both
Good.
strangers in a strange land. Oh, look at this.
Yeah.
There's a puppy here. Oh, he smells so good. And let them sniff. The puppies usually instinctively do all of the right behaviors. They roll over, they wag as they crouch and crawl toward the bigger dog. They do all of these signals that are saying, I'm no threat. I'm a baby. Love me. I'm cute. Kind of
Okay,
thing.
that's very important. I think you talk about doing a parallel walk too, don't you? Sometimes.
Yes, that's really good, especially with the older pups and the older dogs. Have a friend that has the puppy so that your resident dog doesn't blame you. Well, that belongs to her. It's not, yeah, you're not, taking time. And so you can walk them parallel, maybe on each side of like a tennis court, the fencing.
Yeah,
there. So
that's a good idea.
or even any kind of a fencing. They can meet on other sides of the fence. So that's a safety barrier. They can sniff and they can come as close as they want, or they can escape. They can get back away from the sniffs if that's too overwhelming for them. Let them sniff, go away, sniff, go away. It's not and very short
Yeah,
periods, like you
I like that.
mentioned, about 5 minutes. That's a good amount of time. Then give them a break, because puppies need a break. It's exhausting. The emotion is exhausting for us, but for goodness sake, a new puppy that is, oh, look at this wonderful new world. And oh my gosh, he looks like my mom. Oh, he doesn't want me to act like that's my mom. So you have to be careful how they're going to act and react.
Hey, everybody. We're speaking with Amy Sojai. She's an amazing pet expert. She's got 20 zillion books out there, but the one I really want you to take a look at is Competability, Solving Behavior Problems in Your Dog and Your Cat Dog Household, and also Complete Puppy Care. Shojai, Sojai.com. She's got blogs. She's on Facebook, everything. Amy, I really, really appreciate you being on the show today, and keep doing what you're doing.
Thank you so much, Arden. It's a joy to be on here with a fellow writer who does such great work. So I appreciate it.
Thanks so much for making our tails wag by watching this guest interview from Arden Moore's Four-Legged Life. Four-Legged Life. Make sure to subscribe so you're up to date with all of our Four-Legged Life content. Four-Legged Life. Four-Legged Life.